Hey guys, so today we're going to work on some stuff for level 3. This will be the last level in 5-2. So we are going to use our knowledge of factoring and everything that we've learned about similar triangles in order to solve these problems. So for example 1, the first thing I want you to do is to write that triangle KLJ is similar to triangle YZX. So for each of these problems, we're actually going to give you the similarity statement so that you know you can use the definition of similar triangles. So I also drew in a picture of KLJ looking more like they will look at the end, just given how the numbers work out. So both of our triangles will look more like that, if that helps you visualize what we're doing in this problem. So we need to recall the definition of similar triangles is that all of the angles on the inside are congruent and the sides are proportional. So for this problem, we're actually going to use the angles, and we're given that angle K right here and angle L. So that's a different one in the same triangle, so I'm going to make it a different color. We're given what those are equal to, and then we're also given that angle Y is x minus 6. And I think in your notes packet, it says that angle Y is x minus 7. I want you all to change that to x minus 6. So again, we know that angle K is going to be congruent to angle Y. So we can set those equal to each other. So we have 4x minus 1 is equal to x squared minus 6. And then just like we did last unit with those congruent triangle problems, we want to solve this using the zero product property. But in order to do that, I need to get all of my terms on the same side. So I'm going to subtract those over to this side because I also need my x squared to be positive. So on my left-hand side, we'll just have 0. And then on my right-hand side, we'll have x squared minus 4x minus 5. So we did a lot of factoring trinomials practice. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 5, add to negative 4. Since it multiplies to a negative number, I know one of them has to be negative and one of them has to be positive. So I'm just going to give it to you if you didn't already get that. One of our factors is going to be negative 5 and the other one's going to be positive 1. So now I can factor that. X minus 5, x plus 1. And then remember to solve, I have to set each of them equal to 0. So x minus 5 is equal to 0, x plus 1 is equal to 0. Adding 5 to both sides, I get one answer is x equals 5. And then subtracting 1 from both sides, I get x equals to negative 1. But again, these are word problems, so we want to check to make sure our answers make sense and we're not getting a negative. So looking back at angle L, we have that angle L is equal to 4x. So if my x was negative 1 and I plugged that in, I would get angle L is negative 4 degrees. And that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to cross out that answer. We're not going to use that one. So I know that x will be equal to 5 and only 5. So angle L is 4x. So that'll be 4 times 5. And that is 20. So the last question is asking for angle J. And we really don't know anything about angle J. In the problem, we're not given anything. But I know that all triangles have 180 degrees. And I know that angle K is 4x minus 1. Angle L is 4x. So if I plug in 5 for x, I get that K is 19 degrees and L is 20 degrees. So I'm going to write that degree symbol down there as well. So I know that angle J is going to be 180 degrees minus 19 minus 20. So that's why at the beginning I drew the triangle a little bit differently. because angle J actually ends up being 141 degrees, which is a lot bigger than the other two angles. So that's why I redrew the pictures like that. So we always have to check to make sure our answers are making sense, our answers are positive, we're working with shapes, so we don't really care about that negative answer. You can just cross that out. So go ahead and pause the video, take a second, think about the process that we went through, and see if you can kind of get it on your own a little bit. And then we're going to move on to example 2, which again, you can feel free to try on your own. Don't feel like you have to watch this video. But it might be helpful if you do. So for example 2, we're giving you that triangle EDC is similar to triangle HGK. So these two triangles in this picture aren't the same orientation. So we really have to make sure we're using the correct sides. So I have CD here. That's the second two letters, is going to be 2kg. So that's the first proportion I'm going to set up, is x over 3. And then again, we're setting up these proportions because they're similar. So I have DE is the first two letters, HG is the first two letters, so HG and DE are going to be proportional. So I have minus x plus 12 over x minus 3. So remember, these are the side lengths for this problem. For that first one, we were working with the angles. Now we're working with the side lengths. So I set up my proportion, and now I'm going to cross multiply. So I have x times x minus 3 is equal to 3 times negative x plus 12. And then we're going to distribute just like we did in 5-1. So I get x squared minus 3x is equal to negative 3x plus 36. And then again, I have to move everything to one side. That's super duper important. So I'm going to do the opposite operation, but whatever I do on that side, I also have to do to this side. And then if you notice, our 3x's on that left-hand side also cancel out. So now I have x squared minus 36 is equal to 0. And this is a difference of squares problem. So thinking again back to that 5-1 that hopefully we're all pretty familiar with. This is in this form a squared minus b squared, and we're going to factor it like a plus b, a minus b. So if x squared is a squared, then my a is going to be x. And then to find my b, I want to take the square root of 36. So I should get x plus 6, x minus 6 equals 0. And then again, from here we get x minus 6 and x equals positive 6 by setting each of those factors equal to 0. But again, I want to go up and see what makes sense. So side CD is length x. So if x was negative 6, that would mean that my side length CD is negative 6, and that doesn't make sense. So we're just going to use positive 6 as our answer for x. And then for DE, we have DE is minus x plus 12. So DE will be minus 6 plus 12, and that'll give me a positive 6 for this side length DE. So again, take a minute, pause, go through the work a bit slower, see if you can set up the proportion on your own, and see if you can get all the way through the problem. And we're going to move on one last time to the last example. And for this example, I want you to change a couple of things. So let me double check. Okay, so we're going to change this 7 to a minus 5, and then this to a positive 4x, just so this problem works out nicely and we get nice numbers to factor with. So again, I'm going to color code my triangle. So CB is this length right here, and that's the first two letters. So CB and CA go together. So those are both my first two letters. So I'm going to set those up in a fraction. So 4 over x, CA being my bigger triangle, And then we have BD is the second two letters. That's going to be here. And then AE. So I'm going to set those. X minus 5, that's my length of BD. And then 4x minus 5 is my length for AE. So again, we cross multiply. I get x times x minus 5 is equal to 4 times 4x minus 5. I'm going to distribute. X squared minus 5x is equal to 16x minus 20. That's an equal sign. And again, move everything over. So I'm going to minus 16x from that side, plus 20. Those cancel. And then I should get x squared minus 21x plus 20 is equal to 0. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to a positive 20, add to a negative 21. So I know both of them have to be negative. And my two factors, if I do my factor pairs of 20, it's going to end up being 20, negative 20, and a negative 1. So I can factor like x minus 20. X minus 1 is equal to 0. And then to solve for x, I set each of them equal to 0. So I get x is equal to 20. And x is equal to 1. But again, right after I get those answers, I want to double check to make sure that all of my side lengths will be positive if I plug in those numbers. So CA looks good. CA could be 1. However, let's look at BD. So if I plug in a 1 here, I would get BD is equal to 1 minus 5, and that's equal to negative 4. So we cannot use 1. So I'm just going to cross that one out. And my x will be 20. So now we want to find the side length AE. AE is 4x, what is it, minus 5. So that's going to be 4 times 20 minus 5. And that will give me 75 for AE. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in.